Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to tonight's Love on the Line Live. It's your girl, April A. Carter, certified expert relationship coach, and I'm happy that you are here with me today. Tonight, we have an amazing guest, and we got you, the people, the public. We want you to definitely engage, definitely ask questions, and we're going to keep this party going. We're going to keep this party going. All right, so I just put on my do not disturb so I can give you guys my undivided attention. The last couple of times we had a little bit of issues with the lighting. Hopefully the lighting is much better for you guys. A little goes on the mouse. Hopefully the lighting is much better for you guys. So you guys can see me. But most importantly, hear me. That's what's really important. So tonight, the topic tonight is wherever the topic goes. We have a guest tonight who is going to shake some things up. We have one of our male guests who are coming on, and this person is near and dear to my heart. Make sure you guys share, like, and comment if you love everything that you're hearing, if you love everything that you're watching, because we are doing this for you. We are doing this to help your relationship go all the way up. Thrive, 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 thrive. So tonight, the topic is, like I said, no topic. But one of the things I do want to talk about is how to bridge the gap between men and women in the African American community. One thing that I do know, guys, is that the devil loves to separate and destroy. There's so much segregation when it comes to the men and the women in the African American community. You hear all of these podcasts, you're watching all of these YouTubes, and it's like the men are over here screaming what they want and what's wrong with the women, and the women are over here screaming what they want and what's wrong with the men. Let's get back to basics. Let's get back to loving each other and uplifting each other so that we can have a better community as a whole, which is one of the reasons why I became a certified expert relationship coach. I became a relationship coach not just to help you thrive in your love life, but to help our love and legacy live on for generations to generations and generations to come. When there are two positive adults in a household, in a loving environment, they breed children who are happy and whole, who go out to do great things in the community and vice versa. And it happens within the community, that happens within the city, then they grow into the state and they branch out from there, making the world a better place. I want us to get back to loving each other and being the best that we can be for the community, for our community. So let me make sure that all of my guests are ready to come on. Make sure I send this message to all of you, whoever's on the sideline. Thank y'all for joining. We are going to have a great show tonight. Great show tonight. Again, share, like, and subscribe. If you know of anybody who needs this, actually, everybody needs to hear this topic tonight because it's all about community. It's all about bringing each other, together. It's all about love in the atmosphere. So much hate is going on in the world. And if we unite together as a unity, as people, there's no limit to what we can do. All right, so I'm just forwarding this message right now to some amazing people, making sure they are jumping on the live. I hope I don't offend anybody by doing these big group texts, but hopefully it'll work out. Okay, so all right, here we go. Here we go. Okay, so our first guest is an amazing man. He is the oldest of five children, which means he is a born, excuse me, he is the oldest of three children, which means he is a born leader. He has gone through many different trials and tribulations in his life, but one of the things that kept him grounded was having two amazing parents in his household, two people to rear him up, two people to show him the way. Since then, he has continued to grow and thrive, and not only in his career, but in his love life as well. I am speaking of none other than my amazing husband, Clayton Carter. So we're going to bring Clayton on. Give Clayton a round of applause. Come on, let's bring him on. Let's bring him on. Here we go. We're going to add him to the stage right now. Here we go. We got Mr. Carter coming to the stage looking work ready. You work ready?
Stay work ready. Good evening, everyone.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Carter. Thank you so much for joining us today. Tonight, we are just going to have a good time. We're going to answer some of the questions that a lot of the ladies ask me when I'm out and about. A lot of the ladies ask me many different questions when it comes to relationships and basically how to know when a man is really into them, how to know when a man is going to pick you as a wife, what men are looking for. So, just all of those things. But before we get into that, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Clayton L. Carter Sr., as I have a 13-year-old son who is my junior with my lovely wife, April, who is hosting this live stream. Originally from Jacksonville, Florida, born and raised. Duval is definitely in the house. Been here in Charlotte, where we're located, for the last 6 years, and
All right, you
currently,
give it all the business. Listen, listen, just tell them something about you. So give us a fun fact. What do you
well,
like
I
to
mean,
do?
listen, I am by trade. I'm in sales by trade. I'm a regional
All
director.
right. He's a regional director, so that means he loves to talk, y'all. So we gotta
Love to
watch out
talk.
for these sales guys,
I do
okay?
love to,
We
I do
gotta
love to talk. My apologies. I love to talk. I mean, I just like to have fun. I coach my son basketball and play ball in college, and just like to have fun, socialize. Just do everything that can just uplift communities, and just that's just a passion that I have right now, helping people. Right. So that's just one of the things I like to do. I like to barbecue, as my wife could attest to. I like to.
Yes, he makes an amazing sauce, you guys. It's called the sweet heat sauce. He loves it. People
Yeah,
ask us all the time when they come to our house to visit, how can we get some of this? Can we bottle it? Can we sell it? Can we? The answer is no. You got to be in the circle to get some of that sauce. So,
yeah.
Clayton, thank you so much for being here tonight. I really appreciate you coming through and just sharing with the people a little bit of a male's perspective, right? Because a lot of women, although I'm married and they know that I'm happily married, been married for more than 15 years to this gentleman right here, they still like to get that male perspective. They like that male point of view. So let's just jump on into it with some of the questions that I get, and I'm going to ask you as well, and then we're just going to kind of bounce things off of each other. So definitely let your hair down, if you will. Just relax, and we're just going to have a good time. This is not an interrogation, although we will be asking you some questions. So don't be nervous. But the first question that I want to ask you tonight, from a male perspective and a male's point of view, is what makes a woman be chosen by a man, or a high value man, or a man of substance? What are they looking for when they're dating for marriage?
What is a man looking for in choosing a woman when they're looking like
Yes,
dating for marriage? I
correct.
mean, everybody has a different perspective on that. I hear the word high value, used a lot, but I'll be honest with you. It is a statistical fact that men will reach the peak of their value in between the age of like 45 and 55. That's about the most money that we would particularly make in our life. So when we think about high value, we're looking for someone who can kind of build with us as we get to that platform. Because obviously, when we're young, we're dating, we're just trying to have fun. But when you start thinking about someone who you want to spend the rest of your life with, some of the things I think we look for is independency. It's good that, at least for me, when we were dating, I think it was great that you had your own lane that you were in, right? You had your own interests, you had your own hobbies, you had your own, organizations. You just like you was fly, like you just matched, my energy on there. So I'm thinking that someone that's compatible that can kind of match your energy is something that I was looking for. Someone who likes to have fun like me, but also, takes care of business. Someone who has aspirations of doing better in life, whatever those aspirations may be. And then someone who just, has some of the same like morals and values, that we have. So someone who, can be compassionate, someone that can be kind, someone that can get along with your parents, right? Especially
Okay.
fellas, they got to get along with your mama. You know what I mean? Like that's a given. But someone who has those family values as well, right? They want things in life, and they have that determination. Obviously, someone that you're physically attracted to as well, I think goes a long way. And everybody has their own level of what that looks like, but someone that is physically attracting to you, and just someone who can
Okay.
mentally help build with you, that can help introduce you to some new things, right? Help you build who you are, and vice versa. You can pour that same type of energy into them. So I think it's just some of the
Oh,
things that I would say I was looking for when I was looking to choose a wife. And certainly you know like I said, when you get to that high value potential, that's typically someone's been there with you when you were value, but probably not high value just yet. So
not quite high, but you was on the track. So listen, let me
value,
go
yeah.
back. You had value added. Wasn't high, but it was value added. But let me go back to something that you mentioned. One of the traits that you mentioned was somebody that got along with your family and got
Mhm.
along with your mom, right? And
Right.
I thought it was important to actually stop right there for a minute, because there are a lot of people who says that they are not marrying their parents or the other person's family members. How important, or why is that important, that your new mate or the mate that you're choosing or thinking about choosing gets along well with your family, even though you guys are the only two in that union?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was important to me because my mom was a strong black woman, or is a strong black woman, and like raising three boys, then being married to my father, like was severely outnumbered in that house with all that masculinity there. But like she taught me so much as well. My dad taught me a lot of things on how to be a man, but my mom taught me a lot of valuable lessons. And when I believe when men start dating, it's inevitable that some of the values that you're looking for in women will basically resonate from like your upbringing. Whether it's your mom, whether it's your grandmother, like some of the things that you learn about women, you learn from your upbringing in the household. And for me, it's important because this was the first person that taught you how to love, how to nurture, how to care. I would say my dad taught me how to open doors, but he did not. My mom taught me all of those different things. So,
Shout out
when
to mom.
yeah, so when you happy belated Mother's Day too for all the moms. So when you think about that and you're thinking about choosing a mate, I think that's really important that you look for someone who you think could be compatible like with your mother. You're not marrying your mother. But
Right.
you want as you think about, the person that introduced you to a lot of things and introduced you to love, it came from your mom. So of course, I would want that to be, a bond put specifically just because I value my mom's opinion, right? And although she doesn't control what goes on in my household, I still think that that's great because there's someone that's potentially getting ready to join her crew. So she married my father, and took his last name as well, had his children,
Right.
helped raise all of us and to be the men that we are now. So that was very important with me. I just think it was me. I was not looking for someone who would be like the opposite or the antithesis of what my mom would be, because that doesn't work for me. I think it's power in that bond. I watched my grandmother welcome my mom and my dad's mom, and it was like the same thing. So it's probably more generational as we think about who taught us how to
Okay.
love, who taught us how to nurture, and I would certainly look for a wife that would be compatible with the woman that taught me how to love.
Okay. So I hear you speaking from your perspective. In some
Yeah,
of the groups and circles that you're in as men, you are in a lot of professional groups. You
yeah,
have childhood friends that you've grown up with who are also married. What do you
yeah.
say? What do you believe, or what do you think their take is on that? And is that something that you guys talk about in your circles?
Yeah, I think it's important. You could tell that for us who still are fortunate enough to have our moms here, with us. I was just home with my friends, over the weekend, spending time with my mom, and for those who are fortunate enough to have their mothers, I think about how we share stories, about our upbringing and our childhood, and I can say that my friends who are married, a lot of the women that they married took after, some traits that their mom has. So I don't know if
So
that was.
do they also look for some of those traits that you mentioned earlier when they're looking for a wife, like somebody that is compatible, somebody
I
that likes to have fun, somebody that is that something that
certainly,
men are looking for? Because my people want to know, the ladies want to know what is going on.
my crew is different. So some of them married really young, right? Some of them got married young. Some waited, like I did. Definitely, we're a fun crew. So like there was, when you married into that, most of the wives were fun. There are some that are a little bit more reserved. But I think the biggest thing that we were looking for is someone that could add value to us and someone that we can build with,
Okay,
and someone that could, we could start a family with. I think that was one of the most important things that we saw is this: can I start a family with this mate and this.
okay,
So yeah, I would say, guys probably don't talk a lot about what
right.
what they look for when they're looking for a spouse. It just kind of happens, when we go through
Okay,
the
so let me
dating.
stop you right there, and let me give my ladies the chance, the opportunity to take some notes and write these things down.
Okay.
Ladies, men are looking for somebody that you can build a life with. Now, a lot of the ladies watching, some of you may be over the childbearing age, or your children might be out of school, or you may not even want out at school, or you may not even want children anymore. Some of you may even be grandmothers, right? So when you're looking for a partner, I think one takeaway that Mr. Carter is saying or mentioning is that you have to find somebody compatible. You have to find somebody that you can build and grow with. A lot of us are watching these podcasts and listening to these podcasts and watching some of these podcasts, watching YouTube and all of those things. However, one of the things that we miss out on is the fact that you have to grow and build together, right? Everybody wants a rich man, but that rich man, 9 times out of 10, especially in the African American community, did not start off that way. They did not. Most of the time, they might have been in a relationship and that relationship soured or ended, but they had a person that they built and grew with together, right? So I want to make sure that you ladies are dating smarter and dating for yourself, not based on what you see or not based on what your friend is telling you should do, not chasing after the bag or just not being authentic to who you are and what you really want in a relationship, because that is what builds long lasting relationships. The compatibility and the authenticity that you both are bringing to the table. Because the person that you grow with is somebody that you're going to have to be vulnerable with. The person that you grow with is going to be somebody that you are okay crying with. The person that you grow with is going to be somebody that you feel safe to be around. So do not let these internet streets fool you. Everybody that you see who appears to be thriving started off and had somebody helping them along the way and in that journey. I'm going to speak about our relationship for a minute, right? So, in our relationship, when we first started dating, I had my own spot. He had his own spot, and I was in the process of closing on my first home by myself, which I was very excited, right? He welcomed me into his home because my lease was going to be ended, and I would have been in between a lease and then, just having to break that. So that was really nice, right? But when we moved in together, I let him know straight up, we're not doing half and half on the rent because you're not a roommate, right? So that was my goal. That was something that not necessarily a goal, but that was what the standards that I set for myself. And he was in agreement upon that, right? But I in turn was in charge of some of the other things like the utilities, little tongue tie, utilities, groceries, and things of that nature. At that time, that is what worked for us. Now, fast forward years later, now that we're both thriving and he's thriving, he is the person that handles all of the finances in the household in regards to payments and paying bills and things of that nature. That is not something that we just decided upon from our first encounter. That is something that we grow. grew together to actually build together because we were working with each other in that capacity. That was not something that we came out the gate with. That is something that building together allowed us to do and allowed him to do, afforded me the opportunity so I could sit back and focus on my business while giving him some other options as well, like being a good provider to him and our son and just all of those things in the capacity of a wife. So, ladies, it is okay if you have to build together. I want you to focus on building together. Now, as Mr. Carter mentioned, when you become a man of a particular age or a woman of a particular age, let's say in your 40s or in your 50s, yes, that growing part might have been a little bit, harder to get to by yourself. So you might have to look at it differently, right? You might have to say, okay, he has this particular job and I have this particular job. What if we put our money together and he still manages this part of the household and I help him with this? It's a quid pro quo situation. No matter what type of relationship that you get into, it's going to be a quid pro quo. And that means this for that. Whether you are working, you're an employer to an employee, it is a this for that. You go to work every day to produce work for that particular boss or for that particular company, and in turn, they pay you. Every relationship, even friendships, are quid pro quo. So I want to make sure that you know that a person does not want to enter into a relationship with you if you are bringing nothing, absolutely nothing. Now, I know you ladies don't like the term, what are you bringing to the table? Well, let's just say, what are you bringing to the relationship? If it's not something of value, if it's not something where they can see themselves with you, whether it's a great mother, whether it's a great helpmate, whatever it is, it's not worth your time or their time. So I want to make sure you're not getting played and you're not playing them as well. It's all about relationships, commitment, and understanding. And you do that through communication. First thing is knowing what you want in a relationship. This is my famous WNDC method. So, what are your wants in a relationship? Know that before you enter the relationship. A lot of us enter relationships without even knowing or understanding what we want. Know that first because you just end up in a relationship just trotting along. I had a friend, she used to tell me she liked whoever liked her. And that's no way to be, ladies, because you are too bomb for that. You have to be chosen, not chasing. Be chosen, not chasing. You're running behind whoever likes you and you're doing all the things, but in turn, it's not working out for you. The next thing on the WNDC is your needs. What are your needs? What do you need in a relationship? I used to work in corporate America. Hey, what's up? Thank you for being here. I used to work in corporate America, right? In corporate America in the banking institute. So you could say I was a finance bro, okay? Because I was in there with all the finance bros and all those things. And let me tell y'all, it is a different lifestyle. But what I learned from them is that you have to be so ridiculously kind of imaginative, if you will, that your dreams and whatever you want will come true. So knowing what you want and understanding what you want and how to get it is the goal. You have to have your target and you have to aim for that target to reach your relationship goals with precision. Okay. So you got your WNDC method. The D is the deal breakers. Some of you don't have any non negotiables. You let this man or this woman treat you any type of way, and you're still sticking around just because you want that companionship. And it's not worth it. It is not worth it because you will lose yourself at the end. At the end of the day, the relationship is all about you. It's about who you choose, why you choose them, and why you stay in the relationship with them. Okay? So the last thing I want you to know is that you will have to compromise. That is the WNDC method. That's the wants, that's your needs, that's your deal breakers, and you're compromising. What are you willing to compromise on? Because no smart man of value is going to put everything in the basket and get nothing back in return. No man. Okay. So I want to make sure that you guys are dating smarter and not harder. Thank you guys for being here. Make sure you like, comment, and share and subscribe. Definitely hit those notifications because I want to make sure we are continue to grow this page. I want to make sure that the masses understands that we're not just talking nonsense over here. We want everybody to be happily married. And when I say we, I mean myself. I mean people like grown men talking. Shout out to my boy who's on the line with us today with his company Meet to Marry. Listen, Mingo and I, we really believe in this. Clay believes in this. Our friends and family, we come from a family, a friend group, I should say, where people are happily married. And it is a life changing. It's a game changer. So, what are your questions? What questions do you have for my man, Mr. Carter? What questions do you have? What questions do you want to ask him? Ladies, now is your opportunity. You have a man on the line that is answering all of your questions from a male perspective. Another question, thank you for sharing that, Mr. Carter, what men are looking for in a wife, right? Another question that I get from my ladies when it comes to dating is, am I doing too much? How can we know, or how do we know if a woman is doing too much in a situationship? I'll call it a situationship, or let's just say they're dating before they commit to be in a monogamous relationship. What are the signs that a woman is doing too much and going all in and it may not be reciprocated?
Well, I mean, everybody has a different definition of too much. Some guys, and I know some guys that, they just like a lot of praise, a lot of attention. They like to be showered with gifts. They like, they just like all of that. That's, it just,
Okay.
that's what they like. That's what they're looking for in a mate. They look for someone that just showers and praises and, laugh at all their jokes and compliment them every day and all that stuff, which is great. And then others are a little bit more reserved. Like sometimes they may not be as communicative at times, and maybe they just like to sit in silence for a little bit and just like, you know, relax or watch the game or just like not engage in that. So I think it's a healthy balance. For men, it's a little different because I'm not really sure. Oftentimes, we are really in the moment when it comes down to like feelings and emotions, about different things. And sometimes, in dating, depending upon where you were in your former relationship, somebody may have come out of a relationship where nobody listened to them, or they
Okay.
felt like they did not receive praise or, affection, or don't know how to love. And it could be,
Right.
really hard to define that. I know for me, we've been married a long time, so I know for me, when we first started dating, it was nice, right? That you had somebody that would think of like the little things for you. Like, we've been dating so long, we remember mixtapes and all those things, from
He's
back in.
talking, he's talking about, listen, y'all, I'm not gonna lie. I made that man a whole CD, okay?
Yeah, that's
I
a
made him a whole CD. I did. But here's the thing: I made him a CD with songs from like "I Want to Be Down" with Brandy, with like the remix and all of
right.
that. It was some cute songs on there. But listen, at the end, the last song on that mixtape was what's my man's name? Cameo. I'm living a single life, so he didn't get it twisted. I'm living the single. I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea about me. I'm just having a good time. So like, yeah, I let him know, but then I'm like, hold on now, I'm the ish too. So yes, he's talking about when I made him a mixtape. I did make him a mixtape, so because I had to lean in a little bit without putting it all out there. So one of my people want to know, yes, yes, mixtape love. Novia says yes, mixtape love. So my right daily, he wants to know, how do you navigate temptation as a man? That's a good one. That is definitely a good one.
Well, I mean, as a married man, I would tell
Well,
you
as
that.
a single man. So let's
Okay.
as a
Well,
single man.
let's start as a single man. I mean, when you're dating someone as a single man, I mean, that's what it is. That's what it starts off with. It's dating. So I don't really know, if temptation really plays a part unless you're really serious about someone. Now, the more serious you get about someone, at least in my opinion, the temptation, like that temptation starts to fade because now you're looking at this person like this is what's fulfilling all of your needs. Typically when temptation sets in, it's some type of need, right? That you feel like may not be, getting fulfilled. And ego has a lot to do with that as well. I'll be honest with you. If you, have you consider yourself an attractive man and, you have not had a hard time dating, out here, there's always going to be, temptation for you. But I would say, the more dedicated you are to the person who you're dating and eventually are getting serious with, that temptation starts to fade, and you just start thinking about that person like more and more each day. You just find yourself going like, where are they? I wonder what they're doing right now, and all of those things. So just that's how I would say as a single man. It's been a long time, right, for me since I was single, but I think as a single man, that was just one of those things, and it kind of comes with maturity too. Like the older that you get, you start thinking a little bit more on like what you have to lose, and just I would just say
So
put a
this is
little.
from now a married man's point of view, because let's hear that. That's a good takeaway as well. So as a married man, how do you navigate temptation? Because there are a lot of beautiful women out there.
Yeah, I mean, again, you think about it as, we're not dead, right? So we like to say, man, we still, for some of us who still try to take care of ourselves and, keep a certain appearance up around here because we, that's just what we do. I mean, I know it's hard, and I think it's hard for women too, as married women. But I would tell you, as a married man, happily married man of 15 years, um, you know, people change and they evolve over time. And then you start thinking about what you have to lose and what you could lose. And just start thinking about your wife and your spouse and how much they meant to you in the time that you've been there. And, mostly the good things you can think about, like them just pouring all of themselves into you. So it helps you, right? With that. Sometimes married men are attractive because they're married, and there may be some women who feel like they match that same energy or they match that style. So why shouldn't they be in that person's place? But I think we all, it's temptation is just something that is just a part of a human. It's a human emotion in there. It's different when you act upon it though. So I mean, like I would say, my wife's good looking, I'm pretty sure. When she's out at some of these events, she gets complimented. I have been with my wife before when she was complimented. I had to fix that situation, but it was nice that somebody was able to compliment her, and vice versa. We've been together where there's been complimentary things said about me, so you get that. But I think this temptation just comes along with just what are your what are your needs being fulfilled in this relationship, and that for something that's just like a fling, on there. Like I think that's hard when you put everything in perspective of what you could lose with someone who's been pouring a lot into you. So
So
it's
that's
tough.
what I hear.
Hang in there, midnight daily TV. It's tough, my brother. Hang in there.
So what I hear you saying is men want to cheat. Men have the temptation, but it depends on what they will lose. So if they feel like they're gonna lose it all, they like, oh, they're not willing to risk that. Okay.
Well,
Which is something I already
I
knew.
want to clear that up. I don't think it's just so. I don't think it's just men. I think it's just
Okay,
a
not just men,
I
people.
think it's just people. I think it's a feeling, it's emotion. I will tell you that oftentimes we are not as smart, right, with some of the decisions that we make. And sometimes it might just be because we feel like we may be missing out on something. And just is it worth it? So I think again that comes with maturity. That comes with, how much do you feel like this person has value to you? And what do you have to lose by that? But I mean, it's tough. I think everyone struggles with that, whether you're dating, whether you're married. I think that's always going to be something that it's just a thing right on there. And then flattery, like, is a big compliment. When people flatter you, like, it's a big compliment. But yeah, it's the end of the day, it's hard. But I mean, just you think about what you have to lose and the other person's feelings, right? You definitely want to take that into account.
So it goes back to what you're willing to lose. So last night, guys, I was watching. I don't know if any of you ever saw that show, To Catch a Cheater. It's with Tammy Roman, and this lady, she's a comedian. She caught her man cheating with another one of her co-workers, who was also a comedian. And the camera showed behind the scenes the lady or the side chick and the girl's man, they was kissing and everything. And she was like, well, when is the relationship going to end? When are you going to tell her? So it's women out here that are willing to be a side chick if they see something that they want when it pertains to your man, and same thing vice versa with men. So guys, nobody is off limits. Sometimes you could be minding your own business and this lady is wearing you down if you're the man, and there's this man wearing you down, and sometimes you lose focus and lose hope. So I wanted to tell you guys to keep your head on this swivel, because these people are out here, ladies, trying to get your man, and fellas, I mean, it's harder for them. It's harder for them to get your lady or whatever, right? But it still happens. So make sure that you know that if you are in a great relationship and you have something to lose and you want your family and you want just your legacy to live on, just think before you act. Think before you act. So what other questions? Oh, you're very welcome. Midnight Daily says, thank you. You are very welcome. Thank you for answering that, Mr. Carter. So one of the questions in the comment is, how long did it take you to know you wanted to marry my good sis? How long did it take you to know that?
That's a good question. I had just come out of a previous relationship when I met April, and
I
what
was
I
a rebound girl, y'all. I didn't even know.
let's. I don't
She
like that.
always
I
said
don't like
rebound.
that
You
term
always
because
said
I was dating, so I don't like that term. I was dating,
okay.
but when you're sometimes you think that person that you're with, especially if were commit in a relationship for a while, maybe you were thinking like that would have been the one. And this is where I would shout out my father who recently passed this year. That was the benefit of having my dad in the house. Like I could go to him and go, hey man, like how did you know when it was time for you to get married? And he was like, man, if you asking me, you're not ready. So for me, as April and I, first started dating, I didn't want her to make it feel like she was like the rebound, on there, because I'll be honest with you, like I was good, right? I was in a good spot. I had my own, thing going on. Me and my friends were, most of us were single at the time, so we traveled, we enjoyed life, we did a lot of stuff that we did. So it was fun times then. But I knew that I was getting to a certain age in my life where I wanted different things. Like I have a family background. My parents were married for 50 years. I knew I wanted certain things in life. I knew I wanted to grow and develop. My wife will kid how I told her I wasn't a rich man, but I was a family man. When I,
That's how he proposed to me, y'all. And I was like, okay.
but that's
And he was
I
like, is that a yes? I was
I
like,
knew, I
yes.
knew just to answer that question, I knew because, like, again, like I said, like when you start thinking about someone in that capacity, we dated and then we, cohabitated together, and you see the people for who they are, and it wasn't always good days. We had some compromises that we had to work through, and different things,
So how
and
did you know?
I would
How
say,
long, how long did it take you to know? It was the question. How long did it take you to know?
well, I mean, it was probably maybe about almost a year into us dating. We had, I think I was like, man, she checks all the boxes for me and what I'm looking for, for a mate. She was fine, still fine, fine, independent. Like I could count on her for stuff. She was doing stuff that I didn't even ask her to do. She was thinking about different things and perspective. She wanted to have fun, man. She just wanted, and she was into me. I didn't have to be a rich man. I didn't have to be, even though I'm really good looking, I didn't have to be the best looking guy.
Whatever.
So that's what I would say. Probably about a year, over a year of us dating, and like we dated, man. Like we traveled and we met each other's friends, and we met each other's family, and we just hit it off. We just had a lot of things in common. She's the oldest of her siblings. I'm the oldest of mine. So
So about a year.
yeah, about a year into it, but like that's where I was in my life now. I don't know if she was there in her life right then, but like I knew just from some of the subliminal things that she used to say to me when we were dating that, I felt like this could be my mate, and this would be my wife. So, you never know until you get to that point. But like, yeah, about a year. I would say, into it. Now
Okay.
that's just me. Some fellas like to date a little bit longer than that. I have been dating, for a while. Some fellas
I
like to.
think no. I think it as a professional expert relationship coach, the maximum is 2 years. The
Oh,
maximum is 2 years. You already know if you want to marry somebody or be with them forever. You already know. It does not take that long. 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. It doesn't take that long to know. The
okay.
people that get married after like years or decades of after being together, those are the people who are waiting for another bus to come, but no more buses came that were going their route. So those are the people that say, you know what? Okay, well, I guess they're waiting for something else to come along. So, ladies, if you are in a relationship with somebody, and I mean like a real relationship, I don't mean just dating, I don't mean situationship. I mean, if you are in a relationship, a monogamous relationship where you two both together agree that it's just you and him in the relationship, after about a year or so, you guys should be starting to talk futuristically. You should start seeing each other in your future, excuse me, in each other's future. His plans, the way he's speaking, will let you know that. If he's saying things like I or me, then he's not ready and he's not thinking of you in his future. If he's saying things like we, when this happens, we are going to, or when we get our house next year, or after I graduate, we're going to do this or whatever. When he's speaking futuristically and he sees you in his future, that's how you know he is ready for love and lasting love, I should say. Also, ladies, it is not your job to just sit there and wait on him to decide how he is going to level up your life or how he is going to make decisions for your life. You are in control. If you see the relationship is not going the way that you want it to go, then it's time for you to speak up. And if it's not working out or if he's not on the same page as you, and sometimes they're really even in the same book, it's time for you to exit stage left. Do not waste your time because time is one of the only assets, well, the only asset that you cannot get back. Okay, when it comes to you and your life. There are so many women that I work with who are 50, 60, just all of those things, and they are looking back at the time that was spent alone or in the wrong relationship because they wanted companionship. I hear a lot of people sometimes say that, well, I'd rather be dealing with this than what I don't know. No, no, because we have to flip that, right? What if you can be in a great relationship with somebody who loves you for all of who you are, but you're just stuck in a relationship with somebody that is giving you scraps and crumbs? Do not think that the glass is half empty. Look at the glass as half full. There's always going to be somebody better around the corner. You just have to believe it and you have to know it and you have to put yourself out there. One of the things that I'm offering to you ladies is one of my workshops. I have a workshop coming up. It's called Chosen, Not Chasing. Chosen, Not Chasing. Okay. And it's happening on Tuesday, May the 20th at 8 p.m. In this particular workshop, I'm going to be sharing with you the tips and things that you need to actually do so that you can stop with that pick me attitude, pick me personality to focus on what's most important for you so that you can be chosen. A lot of you ladies are not being chosen or you doing the choosing because you feel as though you have to have that aggressive alpha male type of spirit. I want you to fall back a little bit. I want you to say, you know what? I'm a woman, hear me roar. Let the man do the choosing. You don't have to continue to chase. You don't have to go above and beyond. You don't have to prove yourself. The man that you're supposed to be with will see you for who you are and love and accept you, all of you. So that is going to be on Tuesday at 8 p.m. And we're going to get that set up for you in the chat right now. We're going to put that in the chat. So make sure you go on over there. We're going to put the website there and go ahead and register for it. Right now is your summer of love season. If you are in a relationship and you want your relationship to work, I have some amazing resources for you as well. You can go over to my website at april.carter.com and get some relationship refresh tips because not everybody is single. I know that. Some of you might be in long-term relationships like my husband and I, right? The relationships are not going to be easy all the time, but if it's worth fighting for, if it's worth having, if it's worth building a legacy together, then you absolutely must put the work in. You absolutely have to know and understand that everything on the internet is not real. So when you're watching these podcasts, when you're watching these YouTubes, when you're watching these, Insta stories and these, choose based on who you are and what you want, okay? It's all about you. Remember, it's all about you. Who you choose, why you choose them, and why you stay in the relationship with them. So I think we have time for another question. Any more questions coming in? Any more questions coming in? So while we wait for some more questions to come in, we have so many great things going on for you guys. My team and I have Jessica here, and then we have some more team members as well. And we are putting together a whole package for you. We have the So Long Single 2025 Self Love Thrive Retreat coming up. That's happening in September. We are going to Riviera Maya, Mexico. In Riviera Maya, Mexico, we are going to relax, relate, and release. Listen, you are doing all the things. You're so busy all the time. It's time for you to sit back and have yourself poured into. It's time for you to not only, just rejuvenate yourself, but we're going to turn up a little bit too. We're going to turn up. This is only for the ladies. Ladies, this is for you. So go to thrive.solongsingle.com so that you can learn more about the retreat. All the monies are due by August, I believe August the 18th. And guess what? It's only $2,400. And that's for two people. So you and your girl, come on, that's only $1,200 a piece. Come on and have fun. Everything is included, including the excursions. The only thing that is not included is the travel, excuse me, the air travel, okay? So I want to make sure you know that this is not just something that, I do for likes and clicks. I do this because I want you to have an amazing relationship. Many of you know my story, but for those of you that don't, I am the oldest of five children born in the Bronx, New York, okay? To a man and a woman, to a woman who raised all five of us, but to a man who I've never met. I've never met my father in real life. I don't even know who this man is. Okay, my mom is one of those people like she's giving me the names, but then she's taking it back and I don't know this man. So that's one of the reasons why I also started to become a relationship expert so that we can build legacy. It's time for us to get back to us, get back to family, get back to building, get back to growing and thriving as an African American community. A lot of the people that I grew up with in the Bronx, New York, were from single parent households. Single parent household. So unlike my partner Clay, I didn't know what it was like to grow up in a thriving two parent relationship. My mom was in a domestic violence relationship, and then later on, fast forward, guess what? I ended up in a domestic violence relationship as well. Okay, so I want to teach you some of the things that I've learned along the way. It wasn't until I had to step back and refocus on who I was and decide what I needed to do. And that's when I put it all in this book, the Compatible Companion book. There's so many great resources on my website. Go to aprila carter.com where you can get all of those amazing things there because it's for you to help you. Some of the resources are free, some of them are not free, right? Because that's how I make my living. But I just want to make sure that you know there is help for you. Do not wait for things to happen. You have to be proactive and not reactive, okay? The people who are reactive get left behind. I told you I worked in the banking industry with plenty of finance bros, and that is one of the things that I learned along the way. The people that go after what they want with vigor, the people that go after they want what they want without remorse are the people that win in life, not just in business, but also in relationships as well. So, any more questions before I let Mr. Carter go? Any more questions? Type your question in the chat. Anybody want to come on? We have it pinned here as well. Okay, so we got Mine Right Daily. My man MDT, thank you. I think it's good to see more men celebrate marriage because I grew up hearing most men complain about being married. Yeah, and you know what? I love that perspective. And that's why I like showing happy married couples. And I think, you know what, guys? We all need to go on a little quick trip. Any couples in the chat right now or watching later, we are going to the vineyard on June 20th. This is just for the couples so that we can grow and thrive in relationships as well as couples. You need to turn that down so that we can grow and thrive in relationships as couples. Because when you're around other couples that like and love each other, guess what? That rubs off on you. Everything is on a frequency. We're all on frequencies. Whether you're going to be on a high vibration or low vibration depends on you and your surroundings and your circumstances. So definitely, definitely, definitely. Here goes the website. We have it right here for you guys. We're gonna pin it. We're pinning everything. But I think that's it, Mr. Carter. Thank you so much for being here with us this evening. We appreciate your time. Is there any last minute things that you want to leave for the guests?
Well, thank you for joining tonight. I would say I know how passionate my wife is about this her career at this stage in her life. This is something that she definitely pours a lot of time into. She has that helping spirit. If you know her, if you spend any time with her, that's just a nurturing spirit that she has. So hopefully this was a good conversation. I really enjoyed being here. Oftentimes, being able to give our perspective from a male's point of view, I think is always, warranted. But I would tell everybody we're all different. We're all not like the same, and just like do the best you can. Right, keep going. Like just like keep going, don't give up. Right, there's somebody out there that's for you. But listen to a lot of the stuff that my wife has put together. I've seen her help a lot of people. So thank you so very much for having me
Thank
here
you for
on the
joining.
show,
Thank you,
Mrs.
guys.
Carter. And you guys be well. Thank you.
All right, see you next time. And guys, we'll be back next Thursday. We go live every Thursday with Ask April A, Love on the Line Live at 8 p.m. right here on YouTube. So make sure you join us here. Go on the website and join the newsletters. And we will see you next time on Ask April A, Love on the Line Live. Bye. Thank you for joining.